What if I told you the way that we have been told to process grief for so long is wrong? Grief is a touchy subject because at one point in each of our lives, we've all been impacted by grief. Maybe not to the magnitude of losing a loved one, maybe it might have been something small as losing an animal or a friend. But one thing is just about true, it's all the same. Grief isn't about forgetting about the pain. The process of grief is about healing. And healing is not about forgetting, it's about remembering without breaking. And here's some videos that I hope give you some kind of peace in your process.
My friend told me something beautiful about grief that I don't think I'll ever forget. They said to me that grief is like a stone and you carry it in your pocket and you'll always notice it, you'll feel it, you know it's there. But as time goes on, you get stronger. And so as you get stronger, it's not that the stone goes away, it's just that it gets lighter.
Wow.
And so it's lighter to carry, but it doesn't mean it's going away. You didn't move on. You didn't have to get over it. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't get smaller. It stays the same. You just get stronger, so the stone gets lighter.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that
I like
idea around grief because it sat true with me that it didn't have to go away. I didn't have to let go of it. I didn't have to forget about it. And that it would always be there. But just as I grow and as I strengthen and as I become more resilient, it becomes lighter and doesn't weigh on me in the same way as the heavy feeling of grief can in the beginning.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jay Shetty for that powerful, just that little excerpt right there. But no, he's completely right, right? Because at the end of the day, grief is a process. And one thing that I've seen over social media or I've been told is like, hey, in due time you'll forget about it, or due time the pain will go away. In due time, you're not going to remember as often. And to me, that's all I was trying to do. I just didn't want to remember. Losing my mom in 2020 was the hardest thing in my life. I've lost people before. I lost my grandma, and that was hard as well. But losing somebody so close to you is truly life changing. Like truly life changing in the sense of like I like things don't feel the same anymore. Like my household, the way I look at certain pictures, when I hear her voice on the voice notes that she used to send me, like I start tearing up. And me being a strong guy, I've never really cried. I've never been a crier. I've never been somebody to get that emotional. But when you lose somebody that close to you, somebody you loved in your life and who's loved you uncontrollably, it changes a lot. And when I was used to the first process of grief, it was so hard for me because I used to try to do everything in my possible will to forget because it felt like a fever dream. It felt like this was not life. It felt like this wasn't real. And for so long, I found different ways to cope with it, whether it was drugs, alcohol, food, lust, women, anything you could think of, just so I could not think about it. Because those hardest moments at night when you wake up in the middle of the morning, when you wake up and you're just sitting there looking like, man, I would never see this person again. Like I would never see them again. And you have to go back to life like everything is normal. You kind of have to like start your day, see your family, see your friends, and realize the brevity of life and how important it is to kind of be in a moment. But it's hard because sometimes you don't feel in the moment. Have you ever felt like that? But I'm here to tell you, you're not alone because at that moment, for me, just understanding that and with the grief process, trying to find every different way to suppress it, to throw it away, to put it on the back of my mind, it got to the point where I almost blew up, and I started adapting, getting into different things that just naturally wasn't me, the different substances, addictions that I knew wasn't me, and I had to understand, why am I doing this? It wasn't because I enjoyed it. I actually felt worse after the fact. But with grief, and I love what Jay said right here about it, because for so long I tried to throw it away. I tried to suppress her. I tried to not remember her as much as I could because there's obviously I can't fully forget her. But I didn't want to go through that pain of crying again or tearing up and hearing those voicemails. I would do everything possible. But I like what he said was about the stone in your pocket analogy. Because like you said, as You'll always feel it there. You always feel it in your pocket. But as you get older and you grow, you get stronger. And the stronger doesn't minimize the stone. It just understands that it's gonna be okay. To me, just that whole video tell me it's going to be okay. There's always gonna be that little back nudge, letting you know it's still there, and that's okay. So I don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget the pain of losing her. I don't want to forget that because at that moment, that was my last moment of seeing her. And I think people shouldn't forget about what that feeling felt like when that person left them. Pain of itself was a process that made you who you are right now. And I always like to say, like, there's a purpose in your pain. There's a purpose in everything that you go through, even losing somebody. So I like to, it just really changed my narrative on what pain felt like. And instead of being insufferable and trying to get rid of it and being pain free, I just allow it to be. Allow it to sit there, knowing that I'm stronger, more emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, to be able to endure the pain or the discomfort of that situation. And here's another video. I really wanted to bring this one as well.
Think of grief as learning to let go, but that is completely wrong. Grief is about learning how to remember, finding a way to make this experience a part of your life as it is right now. One way you can do this is by finding a way to be in the emotional state you want to be in. So if you want distraction, go play some video games. If you want to look at photos and cry, look at photos and cry. If you're feeling overwhelmed, then put away things that remind you of your loss. Whatever you need right now, that's okay. It also becomes really important to strengthen existing relationships. Most cultures have some version of this when you're experiencing the loss of a loved one, where people come together and they help you not only with the day-to-day of what you have to do, but spending time with them can bring some sense of stability to the emotions you're experiencing.
That's so good. That's so good because at the end of the day, like you said, those moments where you don't know what to do with your emotions that you're feeling, if you want to be distracted, like I said, it's okay. If you want to go play video games to kind of get your mind off things, that's okay. If you want to listen to the voice notes and cry a little bit and let some of those emotional baggage go, that's okay. And it took me so long to learn that because I always felt like I had to have it together. I always felt like I had to kind of impose this facade of being okay, not just for myself, but for my family, my friends who were constantly checking in on me, which I appreciate. And to that second point, having that community aspect of grief, because like when people go through a hard time, that the overarching sense of humanity really kicks in, especially when you lose somebody. When I lost my mom, my Nigerian community, my church community, I have friends of friends reach out to me, and that overarching sense of warmth and feeling of people actually care was really huge and instrumental when I actually lost somebody. And it just shows how we are human, and humans do care. We do care. And that there's a trial period, there's a period in your life when you need that. You need your tribe to kind of lean on them a little bit. Because at that point now, it just kind of shows that you're not alone. You don't have to process this alone. You don't have to go through this alone. You don't have to be alone. Like, this is not your burden to carry alone. And the friends the friends who turn to family usually in those moments are the people who really care about you and they want to show up in your life. And the ones that actually initiate reaching out to you to actually check in on you are the ones that really, really care. So with grief is not something that I think that we have been taught how to deal with properly, because we've been always, at least for my part, taught to suppress it. We were always taught to kind of get over it, time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. Time allows you to carry it a little bit better. It doesn't heal it, though. Time allows you to hold on to things just a little bit better, but it doesn't fully heal. Because at the end of the day, healing means that it was never there. Or that the scab is gone. And to me, it just kind of minimizes the person's existence. And I don't want to ever do that. Because at the end of the day, like I said, like the rock analogy, she was always going to be there. The rock of stone is always going to be in my pocket. It's going to be hard to think about her sometimes. because at that point now I might break down at any moment, but I allow myself to be in that emotional state. I allow myself to have that emotional capacity because regardless of it all, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. If you've been through some grief and you've experienced it huge in your family, and you experience loss, and you experience anything that's as felt so traumatic to you, please drop a like, comment below. Tell me about it. How did you kind of get over it? And what are some ways that you'd recommend anybody who's going through that process to kind of lean into as well?